I didn't think she'd actually hit me. Not my daughter-in-law. Not the woman I helped pay through nursing school. Not the girl I let live in my guest house for free while she figured herself out. But she did. She hit me so hard I fell backward, my wrist crashing against the edge of the kitchen table. I felt a blinding pain shoot up to my elbow, my vision blurred, and she stood there, eyes cold, jaw clenched, like she was daring me to say something. "You're not welcome here anymore," she hissed. Then she turned and walked away. Just like that. Before I dive in, feel free to let me know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy the story, a like and subscribe would mean a lot. I stayed on the floor for several seconds, trying to process what had just happened. I wasn't clumsy. I wasn't frail. I was 62 and still sharp as a whip. But I didn't expect the rage in her hands, or the silence that followed. My son Jacob didn't even come downstairs. The same boy I raised alone after his father walked out. The same boy who sat with me at midnight study sessions and called me his superwoman on graduation day. He didn't even peek out of the upstairs bedroom. No footsteps. No, "Mom, are you okay?" No voice. Just silence. I wiped the blood from my lip with my sleeve and used the chair to stand up. My hand was swelling fast, and I couldn't even curl my fingers into a fist. But I grabbed my purse, and I walked out. No shouting, no drama. I didn't want to give her that. Outside, the sun felt too bright, too cheerful. My vision shimmered with heat and emotion as I got into my car and sat behind the wheel, shaking. Then my phone buzzed, a message from Jacob. "Please don't come back. It's better this way. Stay away from us." I stared at the words. Stay away from us. Us, not me. Not, "I'm sorry, Mum," just us, like they were a team, like I was a stranger. I didn't reply. Not yet. I drove straight to the urgent care centre. Fractured wrist. They put a temporary cast on and gave me pain meds. The nurse asked if I wanted to report anything. I said, "Not today." But something changed in me that night. Something quiet, but final. Because the next morning, while drinking my tea in silence, I pulled out the folder labelled Loan Co-Sign Docs, Jacob plus Ellie, New Mortgage. I smiled. Let me explain. You see, last month they begged me to co-sign on a new mortgage. "Mum, it's just until the bank clears our dual income," Jacob had pleaded. "Ellie starts her new job in 2 months. Please, it's our dream home." I said yes. I always said yes. Until now. I opened my laptop and logged into the mortgage app. My name was still on the application. The final bank check hadn't gone through yet. They were days away from getting approved. I clicked Withdraw Co-Signer Authorization. Then I clicked Confirm. Done. Jacob and Ellie would get a call from the bank this afternoon, and they'd find out that their loan had been denied because of me. I could have warned them. I could have forgiven them. But Jacob let her hurt me, and then he told me to stay away. Fine. I pressed my lips together, reached for the phone, and finally replied to his message. Okay. Nothing more. No drama. No curse words. Just, okay. Let him wonder what I meant. Let him wonder what I did. But I knew what would happen next, and I knew it would hurt. Because this wasn't just about bruises on my skin. It was about the bruise on my heart. A bruise my own son let someone else make, and never cared enough to stop. That afternoon, the phone rang again. Unknown number. It was the loan officer. "Mrs. Taylor, we noticed you revoked your co-signature on the Greenleaf mortgage file for Jacob Taylor and Ellie Taylor. Is that correct?" "Yes," I said calmly. "That's correct." There was a pause on the other end, a polite tension. "I see. Well, unfortunately, that will significantly impact their creditworthiness. We'll have to halt approval pending a new co-signer or full income verification." "I understand," I said. "Have a nice day." I hung up. Less than 10 minutes later, Jacob called. I didn't answer. I just sat on the couch, nursing my arm, listening to the phone ring out. Then, Ellie texted, "What did you do?" That made me laugh. Not a bitter laugh. A real one. The kind that comes from a place so deep in your chest you forgot it existed. What did I do? I said okay, but what I meant was, you made a mistake, and now you'll learn what that costs. I went to bed early that night. My hand throbbed, but the pain was clean. Honest. It reminded me I was still here, still breathing, still strong. I thought about Jacob's baby face at age 6. I thought about how he used to hold my hand crossing the street, about the macaroni necklace he made me in 2nd grade. How did we end up here? How did he let it happen? The next morning, I woke up to 23 missed calls, 7 voicemails from Jacob, all desperate, all confused. But the last one made me freeze. "Mom, please call me. Ellie said she's pregnant." My heart slammed. What? Pregnant? Now this was getting complicated. But before I could even process it, someone knocked on my door. Hard. 3 loud bangs. I looked through the peephole, and I couldn't believe who was standing there. When I opened the door, the first thing I saw was Jacob. But he wasn't alone. Ellie stood behind him, arms crossed, sunglasses hiding her eyes. And despite the swelling in my wrist, despite the way my ribs still ached from that fall she caused, the first words out of her mouth weren't, "I'm sorry." They were, "You just ruined our lives." Not hello, not an apology, not even fake concern. Jacob looked miserable, dishevelled, like he hadn't slept. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair uncombed. He held a folder in one hand and kept glancing down at it, like he was practicing what to say. But Ellie? She looked like a lawyer walking into a courtroom, chin up, shoulders sharp. "I'm pregnant," she said coldly. "Did you know that when you cancelled our mortgage?" I didn't say anything. Not at first. I stepped aside silently and gestured for them to come in. They hesitated. Jacob looked unsure. Ellie marched in like she owned the place. They sat on the couch. I stood. The silence stretched for too long, so I broke it. "You hurt me," I said quietly. Ellie rolled her eyes. "I tripped," she said. "It wasn't my fault you're so fragile." Jacob cut her off. "Ellie." But she kept going. She was in our house, our kitchen, judging everything, telling me how to raise a child I haven't even had yet. You think I'm just going to take that? I blinked. Then I spoke with the calm of a woman who'd been pushed too far. "You hit me, Ellie, and you lied to Jacob about it. And when I didn't respond the way you expected, you both shut me out like I was some disposable furniture." Jacob shifted uncomfortably. "She said it was an accident," he muttered. "I didn't know how bad it was until—" I raised my cast. The bruising was dark now, purple and blue, the swelling worse. "You didn't even come downstairs, Jacob." He looked like he'd been slapped. I didn't let the silence stretch this time. "Why are you here?" Jacob cleared his throat. He placed the folder on the table and slid it toward me. We can't afford another cosigner," he said. "They're giving us 72 hours to update the application or the home goes to the next buyer. We'll lose the house." I looked down at the folder. Mortgage terms, updated rates, a plea typed out in desperation. "Ellie's going to be on maternity leave," Jacob added, voice cracking slightly. "I can't cover it alone. Not yet." I didn't pick up the folder. I didn't even look at it again. "Do you want me back in your lives?" I asked. Jacob hesitated, then nodded. "Do you want me in this baby's life?" Another nod. Slower this time. I turned to Ellie. "And you?" She shrugged. "You're his mum, not mine. I'll tolerate you if you sign those papers." And just like that, the mask dropped. I saw her clearly now. She didn't want family. She wanted security. Her voice was hollow of warmth but full of expectation. I smiled gently and walked over to the table. I sat down and slowly opened the folder. Ellie leaned forward, smug. Jacob looked hopeful. I took the pen. I clicked it. Then I paused, and I said one thing that changed the entire room. "I'll sign it, if you apologize, out loud, right now." Ellie's face twisted. "You're seriously going to make this about pride?" she snapped. "No," I replied. "I'm making it about respect." Silence. Jacob looked at Ellie, pleading silently. She stared at me like she wanted to lunge again, but she knew the stakes now. She wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. Then, with teeth clenched and lips barely moving, she spat it out. "I'm sorry." But it wasn't real. It wasn't close to real. It was the kind of sorry you say when your ego has a knife to its throat. Still, I took the pen. I hovered it above the signature line. Jacob's eyes lit up. Ellie exhaled like she'd just won. And then I stood up without signing. "Actually," I said, "never mind." Their faces froze. "I thought I could do it. I really did. But I can't. Because deep down, I know if I help you now, you'll just forget this ever happened." "Wait!" Jacob started, standing. But I raised my good hand. "Jacob, you told me to stay away. You chose your side. And now I'm choosing mine." Ellie lunged forward. "We're pregnant." "And?" I asked calmly. "You're going to let your grandchild grow up homeless?" I narrowed my eyes. "You're the one who threw the first punch. Literally. And now you want me to forget everything because it's convenient." Jacob's jaw clenched. "Please, Mum," he said quietly. "We need this. Just this once." "No," I replied. "I needed you once too, the night you said nothing." I grabbed the folder, walked over to the fireplace and dropped it into the flames. Ellie screamed. Jacob didn't move. He just stared into the fire like a man realizing something was truly gone. They left without another word. I watched from the window as Ellie stormed to the car, slamming the door. Jacob lingered. He looked back once, but he didn't come back in. 3 days later, the house listing went back on the market. They didn't get it. They moved into a smaller rental across town. I heard from a friend that Ellie's pregnancy was real. But what she didn't know is that Jacob wasn't the only person I helped this year. I'd also helped Ellie's sister, a girl with a quiet voice and a secret. Because a week later, I got a message request on Facebook. From her. I opened it, and what I saw made my blood run cold. The message started like any other. "Hi, Mrs. Taylor, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I need to tell you something. It's about Ellie, and it's serious." It was from Rachel, Ellie's younger sister. I hadn't seen Rachel in nearly a year. She was softer than Ellie, always nervous, always the quiet one at dinners. But she had kind eyes. She once stayed behind to help me clean up a holiday party, while Ellie went upstairs to take selfies in a new dress. I sat still for a moment, rereading the message. Something about her tone felt urgent, too serious for small talk. I clicked accept and typed back, "I'm listening." The reply came instantly. "I know you probably don't believe anything good about me or my family after what Ellie did, but I've been holding this in for too long. I just found out she's not actually pregnant. She lied to Jacob. She lied to everyone." I blinked. "What?" Another message came right after. "She found out you cancelled the mortgage. She panicked. She told Jacob she was expecting to stop him from cutting her off. But she's not. I'm sorry, I have proof." There was a photo attached. It was a screenshot of a text thread between Rachel and Ellie. In it, Ellie had typed, "If I say I'm pregnant, he'll beg his mum to forgive me. We'll get the loan, the house, everything. Then maybe I'll actually think about getting pregnant." I stared at the screen. I didn't feel shocked. I felt cold, heavy, like a part of me that had still hoped just a little that maybe I'd overreacted, had now turned to stone. Rachel sent another message. "I shouldn't be sending this, but I couldn't keep watching. Jacob deserves better. You deserve better. I'm sorry for waiting this long." I took a breath. and typed back, "Thank you for telling me. I believe you." I didn't say anything else. Not yet. But in my mind, things were already moving. I'd made peace with staying away from them. I had let go of the dream of having my grandchild over for birthdays, school plays, messy pancakes in my kitchen. But now I realised the problem wasn't just that Ellie hit me. It wasn't just Jacob's silence. It was that the lie had grown, and Jacob was still tangled in it. I sat with it for a while, then made a call. Not to Jacob, not to Ellie, to my lawyer. "Ms. Coleman," I said, "do you remember the trust account we set up for Jacob a few years ago?" "Yes, the one meant to release after his first child is born." "That's the one. I want it frozen, immediately. Put it under review." She paused. "Is something wrong?" "Let's just say," I replied, "the birth certificate might be missing a name. Permanently." The next morning, I got another text from Jacob. "Please. Ellie's stressing out. We lost the house. I'm trying to fix things, but she says you're turning everyone against us. Just tell me what you want." I didn't answer. Not yet. That afternoon, I went to the grocery store. Normal errands: apples, bread, coffee. But right as I reached for a can of soup, I heard a voice behind me. "Mrs. Taylor?" I turned. It was Rachel. She looked tired, a bit anxious, but genuine. We stood there in the aisle, two women on the edge of a storm. "I didn't think I'd run into you," she said, adjusting the strap on her tote bag. "But I'm glad I did." I gave her a small nod. "Me too." We stood quietly for a moment. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Ellie's done this before." My breath caught. "What do you mean?" "She fakes things. Crises. Drama. Ever since we were teenagers. Once she faked a stalker to get an ex-boyfriend back. Another time she pretended to have a medical scare just to get out of a job she didn't like. Lying is how she survives." I leaned on the cart. "And Jacob?" Rachel looked down. "He's in too deep. He's used to chaos now. I think he thinks this is normal, but it's not. I'm scared for him." I studied her face. She meant every word. I decided right then to do something I hadn't planned. "Rachel, would you testify if it came to that?" She looked shocked. "Testify?" "Just in case it becomes necessary." She nodded slowly. "Yes, if it helps him, I'll do it." We parted ways after that. I gave her my number. She promised to stay in touch. That night, I sat alone in my living room, the fire crackling beside me, the air thick with everything unsaid. My phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Jacob. His voice was ragged, worn down. "Mum, Ellie's missing." My stomach dropped. "She left the apartment this morning and hasn't come back. She won't answer texts. Her phone's off. I don't know what to do." A long pause. Then, "I found your old ring box on the dresser, the one Dad gave you. It was open and empty." My heart stopped. I hadn't seen that ring in years. It had been locked in my bedroom drawer, tucked away. Jacob sounded panicked now. "Please call me, please." I froze, because I knew exactly what this meant. Ellie had stolen something, and she wasn't running from Jacob. She was running from me. The ring was gone. The ring my late husband gave me on our anniversary 20 years ago. A white gold band with a rare oval sapphire, flanked by diamonds so tiny they looked like dew. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't the kind of thing you'd wear every day. But it was priceless to me. And now it was gone. Jacob's voicemail echoed in my ears on repeat. "She left the apartment. She won't answer. The ring box was open." I didn't panic. I didn't scream. I stood, walked to my bedroom, opened the drawer I hadn't touched in months. The small red velvet box was still there, but when I flipped it open, empty, gone. Ellie had been in my house, somehow, while I was out, and she'd taken the only thing I truly had left of my past. The part of me that existed before all this betrayal, before the silence and the bruises. She took it, and now she was gone. I called Jacob. He picked up on the first ring. "Mum, tell me everything, from the beginning." He exhaled shakily. She was spiraling. After the loan fell through, she was screaming, throwing things, saying you were trying to destroy her. I tried calming her down, but she wasn't listening. I went to work this morning, and when I came back, she was gone. Her stuff's still here, but the lockbox is open. I didn't even know you brought that ring here. Why did she... She didn't know about the ring, I said quietly. Unless someone told her. He was silent. Then, Rachel. I didn't answer, because he was right. Rachel must have mentioned it, maybe in passing, maybe as a warning. And Ellie, desperate and vindictive, saw her chance. I didn't blame Rachel, not fully. But this changed everything. "I already reported the ring stolen," Jacob said, "filed a police report." "You didn't mention her name, though," I said. Another pause. "No. Why?" "She's still my wife," he said weakly, "and she's pregnant." "She's not," I said. "What?" "She lied." I told him about Rachel's messages, the texts, the screenshot. I heard him go completely still. "No," he whispered. "No, you're wrong." "I'm not." He didn't argue. He didn't deny it. He just broke. On the other end of the line, I heard a grown man begin to sob. It was quiet, guttural, the kind of cry that builds in the gut and rips through a person's throat. And I didn't interrupt him. I let him cry, because this was the sound of a man realizing his entire life had been built on a lie. When he finally spoke, his voice was shredded. "I believed her," he said. "I believed every word. I gave up my mom. I let her hurt you. And I believed she was carrying my child. She hurt us both," I said gently. "But it's not too late to fix it." He sniffed. "How?" "We find her." It didn't take long, because Ellie was never subtle. I went to the pawn shops. I visited 4, showed them a photo of the ring I still had on my phone from years ago. The 5th shop recognized it. Lady came in yesterday, said it was a gift from her grandmother, wanted to trade it for cash and a plane ticket, asked if we knew anyone who could do that under the table. "Where was she going?" I asked. Didn't say, but she had a duffel bag, looked like she was running. I left my number. 2 hours later, the shop called me back. She just came back, said she changed her mind about the deal, wants the ring back. We stalled her. I got in my car and drove like my tyres were on fire. When I arrived, I saw her, Ellie, wearing sunglasses indoors, hoodie pulled low, standing at the counter arguing with the owner. I walked in and shut the door behind me. She turned. Her face went pale. "Mrs. Taylor? Give it back." She blinked fast. "What?" "The ring. I don't have it." "You tried to sell it for cash. You were seen. It's over." She looked down, then up, and her entire posture changed. "You don't understand what I'm dealing with," she said sharply. "Jacob left me. Rachel's poisoning everyone against me. You took everything, and now you want to take this too. That ring wasn't yours." She looked around, realized no one was on her side. Then she did something shocking. She reached into her bag and pulled it out. She held the box in both hands and shoved it toward me. "Here," she hissed. "Take it. It's cursed anyway." I took it, opened it. The ring was inside. But something about it felt off. Too light, too shiny. I held it to the light. The sapphires shimmered blue. But not deep enough, not dark enough. This wasn't my ring. It was a replica. I looked at her. Her smirk widened. "You think I'm that stupid?" she said. "You think I wouldn't make a copy in case something like this happened?" My stomach turned. "Where's the original?" She shrugged. "I guess you'll have to find out." And then she walked past me, out the door. I stood there frozen. She had the real ring. This was a decoy, and I had no proof. The pawn shop owner looked nervous. "I'm sorry," he said. "She didn't say anything about—" "It's okay." But it wasn't. I went home and sat in silence. The game had changed. Ellie wasn't just angry now. She was strategic, vengeful, and dangerous. The next morning, a letter arrived. No return address. Just one sentence written inside. "Next time, it won't just be a ring." I stared at it, then reached for the phone and called my lawyer again, because I had one more card left to play. I held the letter in my hands for almost an hour. One sentence written in thick black ink. "Next time, it won't just be a ring." No signature, no return address. But I knew exactly who sent it. Ellie. She was threatening me. After everything, the assault, the lies, the fake pregnancy, the stolen ring, she still believed she had leverage. She still believed she could scare me. And for a second, just 1 second, I almost let the fear crawl back in. But then I remembered who I was. I didn't survive cancer, widowhood, and 2 jobs to raise a son alone just to be bullied by a girl with a tantrum and a fake smile. So I took a deep breath and made my final move. I met with my lawyer, Ms. Coleman, the next morning. We sat across from each other in her quiet office, sunlight falling over the wood-grain desk like a spotlight on my final decision. "I want to revise the trust," I said. Her eyebrows lifted. "For Jacob?" "Yes, but with a clause." I slid a document across the table. A printed copy of the text Ellie sent Rachel, the one admitting she faked the pregnancy to manipulate Jacob and me. Ms. Coleman read it. Her lips pressed into a thin, professional line. "I want Jacob to receive the full trust amount," I said. "But only if he meets with me in person to acknowledge what's happened, and only if he files for divorce." Ms. Coleman blinked. "That's a strong condition." "She's a strong threat." She nodded slowly, then picked up her pen. "And if he refuses?" "Then the money goes to someone who actually stood up for me, someone who told me the truth." I slid another paper forward. Rachel's name was written at the top. Ms. Coleman smiled. "I'll draft it today." I left her office feeling lighter than I had in months. That afternoon I called Jacob. He didn't answer, so I sent him a photo. It was the trust paperwork. The header read, "Revised Distribution Plan." 5 minutes later he called me back. "Mum," he said breathlessly, "what's going on?" "You lied for her," I said, "but I'm giving you one chance, just one. Come here, talk to me. Man to woman." Silence, then. "I'm on my way." When he arrived, he looked exhausted, thinner, older. He hadn't slept. He stepped inside, closed the door behind him, and stood like a boy who knew he was about to get scolded. "I deserve it," he said quietly. "You do." "I knew about the pregnancy," he admitted. "I found the test in the trash. It was unused, but I let myself believe anyway, because if she was lying, then I'd ruined everything for nothing. If she was telling the truth, then maybe you were the problem, not me." I said nothing, just waited. He sank onto the couch. "She changed after we got married. Controlling, secretive. She didn't want me talking to you. She said you were trying to manipulate me." "And you believed her?" He nodded slowly. "I was stupid." "No," I corrected. "You were scared." He looked up at me. "I miss you, Mum." I nodded once. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. It was the real ring. I blinked. "She mailed it back to me yesterday," he said, "with a note that said, 'It didn't sell. Might as well give it back to your mommy.'" He handed it to me. The moment my fingers closed around it, I felt whole again. Jacob looked like he was about to cry. Ellie left me. She said I was useless now, that I was dragging her down. She moved in with someone else. Someone else? She said his name was Brent, from her work. She was cheating on me for months. I leaned back, letting the silence hold us both for a moment. "I'm sorry," he whispered. For everything. Words don't fix broken bones, I replied, holding up my still healing wrist. But they're a start. I'll do anything to make it right. I slid the trust paperwork toward him. Then start with this. He read it, eyes widened. You're still giving this to me. If you file for divorce and go to therapy. He looked down, then nodded. I will. And there's one more condition. He looked up. You apologize. Publicly. At our next family gathering. His mouth parted slightly. I didn't flinch. You shamed me in front of everyone by your silence. You stood beside a woman who called me names, hurt me, lied to me. You let them all think I was the one who abandoned you. That ends now. He nodded again. Okay. We stood in silence a while longer. Then, as he was leaving, he paused at the door. Why did you even agree to co-sign the mortgage in the first place? He asked. After everything Ellie said to you? I smiled softly. Because I wanted to believe the best in you, even when you didn't. He swallowed hard and left. 3 weeks later, I received a court confirmation that Jacob had officially filed for divorce. The therapist he chose sent me an email. Jacob had attended every session, and on Easter Sunday at my family's potluck dinner, Jacob stood up in front of everyone, his cousins, his aunts, his little nieces, and told the truth. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't make excuses. He said, my mother deserved better, and I failed her. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. When he sat down, I reached across the table and held his hand. Later that night, I took out the ring again, set it back in its box, and finally, placed it in my closet, high on the shelf, safe, where no one could ever steal it again. Rachel visited me a week later. We had tea in the garden. She smiled a lot now. I'm glad he's okay, she said. He will be. She looked at me carefully. Do you ever wish you'd handled it differently? I shook my head. No, because sometimes the only way people learn is when they lose everything they tried to take. She nodded. Then we both turned as Jacob arrived. He was smiling, carrying flowers. We sat together for hours, and for the first time in a long, long time, it felt like a family again. No fear, no lies, no manipulation, just healing and peace. The kind you don't find by staying quiet, the kind you fight for, the kind that comes when you finally stop being afraid to say, you don't get to hurt me, not anymore.